Hey, everybody, welcome. Today we're talking with Courtney Knapp. Courtney is a speaker coach, message consultant, and veteran communication specialist. She helps professionals own their unique presence. Please hit the like button to let the algorithm know that you enjoy this kind of content. It may seem like a common refrain, but that don't make it wrong. To be clear, it's extremely challenging to gain any traction in most niches. You hear people talk about search engine optimization and other newfangled web strategies. However, they don't talk about industry authority. Incumbents bring to the table and how difficult it is to overcome. A lot of time, success comes down to owning your space, your little corner of the internet. That means better messaging and many times more engaging communication style. It sounds like a lot. If this sounds like something you want to excel at, we've got just the expert for you. Courtney, welcome to the Subscription Maker podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, effective communication.
Let's start with the tough stuff first. What are the common challenges executives and business owners face in developing their communication skills?
I would say every client comes with a unique set of challenges. And then, as you're talking about, there are absolutely some common challenges that I think as leaders, business owners, executives, often their perspective is central and carries more weight in their organization than others. And so when communicating, the common challenge I see is that they center their perspective, meaning, here's what I think people are concerned about. Here's what I think they need to hear. Here's what's most important for me to share in this next conversation or staff meeting. And really, the really good leaders center the perspective of their listener. So getting that information, what is the team feeling? What have they just experienced? What are their fears and concerns? And how do I structure my message? I still have a goal that I want to communicate, but how do I structure it in a way that centers the audience's perspective so that you're able to connect with them and have an impact on them that's the one you intend?
What can we do today to improve our communication style?
There's so much, right? So I have a bunch of thoughts crashing. And as somebody that has built a career in this field, there are commonalities that help us be more effective communicators. And if it's okay to introduce three, because there's a ton of great research on what matters to audiences, what allows your communication to influence them, to engage them. And Co-Creative really centers our coaching and training around these three attributes, which are speaking with authority. Audiences have said over and over again, they want speakers to show confidence. And that is owning the time that you have to speak, not rushing through your message, owning your space, having that engaging presence. Authority can show up in a lot of different ways, but it's that confidence attribute. And then,
So what kind of,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. If you're not done, go for it.
I can go on and on, so you're going to have to rein me in at times.
Okay. So what kind of time frame are we looking at
for learning these,
for
developing these skills?
Yes. How long do you think it'll take before we can expect to see results? I mean, a lot of times people think, well, if I'm not seeing results in 2 weeks, then obviously I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And I always try to help folks out by letting them know you can expect it may take a few weeks, it may take a few months. So what kind of time frame, based on your experience, can we expect?
I'm so glad you asked this question, because it's something that we socialize with our clients every time we engage in a new endeavor, is to understand that to really own a skill, have it be second nature, that mastery level, you need to work on something over time. So our ideal engagement with a one-on-one client is over 6 months. That starts in that first 2 weeks that you mentioned. We're heightening your awareness around what skills matter to be a more effective communicator. What do you need to employ? And so that first 2 weeks tends to be the awkward stage because my awareness is heightened. I'm hoping to do things differently, but I don't have access to that skill set yet. And so over time, with practice and feedback and coaching, accessing those skills, those new behaviors becomes more second nature, more comfortable drawing on them. So we typically start with about 3 months where you're really thinking intensively about these skills, try it on, come back, meet with a coach again, go practice some new behaviors, and really focusing on one behavior at a time to make an impact.
Courtney, let's shift gears a little bit. Can you share a bit of your journey to becoming a communication specialist and speaker coach?
Yeah. I came up through business management and was working for a company that was in leadership development and had a specialty in communication training. And I was helping manage the operations of the business and started to really love the work, started to tag along on the trainings, learn the field. And so when I first got into this about 20 years ago, I got assigned to our nonprofit client. It was a big corporate training organization, and they gave me this small client that was recruiting and training women to run for local office. And those communication trainings focused on persuasion, showing up in a way that engages your audience effectively. How do you be intentional about the message you want to convey and have it clearly land on your audience? So with that client, I really got to practice a bunch of essential skills, and then broaden out from there. So that was 20 plus years ago. Since then, I've worked both in-house with in-house training and development firms, have been out on my own. This is the second time I have had my own business under the co-creative shingle. And the second time I have partnered with a co-owner in the business. And that has really been key to our success so far.
What advice would you give young or youth entrepreneurs who want to pursue a career similar to yours?
I'm really passionate about it, so I encourage them. The learning and development field is so exciting. It's like, how do we get better at the things we want to get better at? How are we more effective as achieving our goals, collaborating on teams? A lot of folks in this field tend to come from HR, human resources. You get exposed to training and development, and some of them will specialize once they've been exposed to it. Other folks come from other worlds. They've been in business, they've had a full career there, and they get into consulting, or maybe they've had exposure to public speaking and speaking skills, and so they start sharing that knowledge, that experiential knowledge with others. A lot of folks come from theater. The theater arena teaches a lot of these. How do you engage an audience? How do you present yourself in an effective manner? Really essential if you're going to work in the business arena to have knowledge of what that audience is focused on. So one of the keys to being a good communicator, as I've mentioned, is centering the audience's point of view. So if you're going to work in learning and development or in speakers training with a business audience, you need some time in a business environment to understand their language, their priorities, the cultures that are in business. So there are a lot of different routes to this. I'll share one more. My partner had her career in speech language pathology. So really in the science of how we communicate, and pivot into communication, corporate communication training. And so she's got all these great scientific foundations of the field and now understands how to make business leaders more effective communicators.
Now, did you start or take on a new partner because of the pandemic? Was this kind of a pivot?
It was an opportunity that presented itself pretty organically, and it was exactly what I needed. I had worked for myself in the past, and then I went back in-house because I wanted that interaction with others. So when I came back out pre-pandemic, dusted off co-creative shingle again, trying to figure out how to do things a little differently this time, had a conversation with a woman who was in a similar spot, was looking to build a business, had some client referrals already, and that partnership was the key for me to get a different perspective on the team. We've got different strengths that we bring. We've got different interests that we want to focus on in the business. And having that balance, another perspective in the business, has been really crucial. So was not looking for a partner, but when we connected, it was really key to our growth.
Now, I got to ask, because the reason I ask is that there's a rumor that the best way to build $1 billion business is to build it with a partner. So I got to ask, what's that like, having a partner? Most of the people I work with are lone wolves. They're solopreneurs, they're out there, they're going by themselves.
Yeah.
But what's it like? What's that decision-making process like?
Yeah. I'm going to really be an advocate for this partnership model, and understanding that partnerships that work are probably unique. It's probably like a lifelong life partner. You're not going to be able to have a productive team with everybody. But what I see with my partner is we really have shared values. We have shared priorities for our business and our personal lives that are similar enough, and shared values around the business and what's important to us. I think that's an essential foundation that our decisions are much easier because of those shared values. You asked about the process. We tend to have separate lanes based on those strengths and those interest areas. So when there's something that is in her area of expertise and she feels strongly about it, I defer to her. And I believe vice versa. In my area of expertise, she will defer to me also. So we don't have either of us that want to have full control, because in a partnership, it is a collaborative relationship and there needs to be give and take. This one is really, really well balanced and aligned. So I think who you partner up with is a key to that success.
Now, I know with the big decisions, it generally takes a community, it takes a village. So, do you have like a kitchen cabinet or
Mm.
a private advisory group?
We're at the point where I'm interested in joining with other business owners in a formal type of mastermind, exchanging of ideas setting. I don't have that right now, but when you mentioned the kitchen cabinet, that more casual advisors, absolutely. I have friends and past coworkers that own their businesses or have an area of specialty that we need to lean into, and we have frequent conversations with those folks. I have a dear friend who is also a organizational development coach with her own business. So we, what we call froaching, friendship coaching. We coach each other, have a lot of free sessions where it's like, hey, what do you think of this? And she'll redirect me, and hopefully it's reciprocal. So having those other folks that you can lean on. Another area that we've tapped into is here in Denver. There is a great resource from the Small Business Development Council. When they have experts who have been in their field, whether it's accounting, bookkeeping, business strategy, how do you develop your business plan, that you can have one-on-one conversations with those folks and also attend some of their trainings. So we are definitely building our own skills as we build this business.
Yeah, Denver is known as a place where you can really, I mean, they're known for their ecosystem, their business ecosystem. I mean, they know how to produce great companies. But okay, Courtney, here's my change up. What does messaging mean to you? Great messaging.
Messaging is all about the impact on your audience. What are they taking away? It doesn't matter if you put together the most brilliant idea. If they got something else out of the conversation or the broadcast, that's the message they're taking away. So messaging is about, what do you want your audience to think, know, feel, and do after hearing your communication? What is that impact? What is the result of that impact? And so often we go in with the message we want to communicate without pausing and thinking, hey, what's the best way to deliver this so that they really take away the message I'm intending to share?
So, what are the key elements of an effective communication strategy that non communication professionals might overlook?
So, again, centering your audience, developing a connection with them is crucial. And I started to introduce some of the elements that we base our training on. These three elements in effective communication are owning your authority, having that confidence, owning the knowledge that you know about the topic you're about to speak on, speaking with energy, which can come through in different ways, whether it's your facial expressions, your gestures, your rate and rhythm of speech that allows the audience to engage, gives meaning to your message. If you're a media company, the energy can come through in colors and in movement, in video, but it is conveying the energy that you want to put underneath your message. And then crucially is this quality of empathy, which is thinking about your audience's perspective. How are they getting this information? Are they going to get it through their feed in a 2-second glimpse? How do I need to structure the information so that they take away my intended message? Are they going to be showing up at a conference at 3 o'clock on Friday and my presentation is between them and the happy hour that's coming next? What are they going to need to engage in listening and taking away my message? So that centering of the audience and prioritizing connection over the words that you want to say.
As we start to wrap up, Courtney, is there anything you wish more people would ask you?
What I'm thinking of is about the value of communication. So that the question that I would hope to hear more of is, how do we build our teams this essential skill of communication? So really understanding that effective communication allows everything else that we want to do, whether you're persuading an audience to purchase a product or invest in your business, whether you're communicating an idea and you want to have them take away these key points, or whether you're collaborating with a diverse group of people that you need to be productive on. This center skill is communication. So the huge value to being effective communicators and really investing in sharpening this skill is something that I would love to see the world really embrace.
Is there anything new on the horizon that you feel comfortable sharing with us?
Mm. Um, Again, a bunch of ideas just collided. One of the areas of research that we're getting really excited to be hearing more about is focusing on listening skills. And this awareness around a key to engaging your audience is understanding them. And so first thing is listening to what they care about, whether that's through surveys or from a one-on-one conversation, starting with, hey, what really matters to you? What are you hoping to get out of this conversation? What are you concerned about? Making sure that not only are you listening, but that you're deepening your listening around what that person really cares about. And so there is a new term on the horizon called adaptive listening that has taken the skill that we've heard about for over a decade now. Active listening, you might be familiar with that. That's making sure we're tuned in. Adaptive listening is really about meeting the speaker where they're at and providing what they need in that instance to create a stronger connection. So as we think about improving our communication, our messaging, our speaking abilities, I'm really excited about the focus on improving our listening and understanding capabilities.
Now, are you producing content or resources based on adaptive listening?
We are studying it. One of our resources that we tap into is a company called Duarte Communications. And you might be familiar with them. They're a worldwide communications firm. They have the ability to do deep research on subjects and produce materials that many of us can tap into. So they've just released a book called Adaptive Listening. And we've read it and are starting to apply some of those concepts to expand our clients' knowledge on the skill.
What's the best way to follow you on social media?
Well, thank you. I'm probably most active on LinkedIn and that professional space. We share some of our content there, tips for communicators, things to remember. One of the things we know is that taking information in bite-sized chunks, one behavior at a time that I can focus on is really effective. So we're doing that on LinkedIn. And then our website is cocreativecoaches.com.
Courtney, thank you for joining us on the Subscription Maker podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Zachary. It was a real pleasure to speak with you.
So, as we wrap up, I just want you to remember too many people work way too hard and earn too little from their online businesses, and you don't have to be one of them. That's a wrap.